Hey, how's it going? So today I'm coming to you with day number 11 inside of my 30-day video challenge. But before I get into the content, in the next week or so, in the next 3 weeks or so, I'm going to be hosting a workshop and I'm going to be sharing my framework. It's the micro commitment strategy framework that I use to build marketing funnel. I was introduced to and I've been using this framework since 2016, and I'm going to be hosting a workshop that's going to walk you through how to use that framework if you want to use that framework to build a marketing slash a sales funnel. I'm going to leave the link somewhere in the comments or somewhere around this page. You can go ahead and click on the link, and that link will allow you to go ahead and register for that workshop to build a marketing slash a sales funnel using my micro commitment strategy and my micro commitment framework. All right, so today I'm coming to you with day number 11 inside of a 30-day video challenge. And the thing that I want to talk to you about today is I want to essentially talk to you about how to have less disappointments via this entrepreneurship journey. You probably already know that this journey could be pretty difficult. From an expectation standpoint, you may expect to receive a certain result inside of a certain time frame, and sometimes it just doesn't happen, which is why I wanted to come on live and just kind of just share with you how to manage those expectations and essentially how to have less disappointments. And if you're live, do me a favor and hit pound live. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you happen to be catching me via the replay, hit pound replay and let me know where you are tuning in from. So I remember maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, my wife and the kids, we decided, my wife has family over in Canada, and we planned a trip there to go and see some family members. Now, my wife is a planner, meaning that, you know, from a planning standpoint, she plans and she also plans for contingencies. Whereby me, on the other hand, I'm like, you know what, I'm kind of a go with the wind type of individual. And this was towards the end of June. We were heading over to Canada, and I'm saying to myself, okay, it's towards the end of June, it can't possibly be cold, in Canada. And my wife had been visiting Canada for, quite some time because she has family there. She's been there a lot more than I had been. This was my first time, being there. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm not going to plan for contingencies, meaning that I'm not going to plan for, for cold weather. And she was like, you know what, there may be some cold weather there. You may want to plan for it. So I said, you know what, I'll be fine. So she, of course, planned for contingencies for herself, and she planned for contingencies for her, for the kids. And when we got there, I am a warm-blooded type of individual, meaning that I love the warm weather. I do not like the cold whatsoever. And when I got there, I was in for a rude awakening because it was pretty cold there, at least pretty cold there to my liking. And guess what? I did not plan. I didn't have the proper expectation, and because I didn't plan, it wasn't a good trip. Not only was it not a good trip, I remember one of the things that we wanted to do while we were there, one of the things that we had planned is we had planned what we call water rafting. So water rafting is you're on the water, you're in this raft, and from a breeze standpoint, the breeze was just that much more colder compared to some of the other places and compared to some of the other activities that we had to do. And again, I wasn't prepared for that. I just wasn't prepared for the weather, at all. And because of that, my trip was not as as great as it would have been had I planned and had I set the proper expectation. So why am I saying all of this? I'm saying all of this to say the same thing is true for entrepreneurship. When I first launched from an entrepreneurship standpoint, from an expectation standpoint, I thought that my first business was going to be making, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I was going to achieve that goal within 6 months of me going into business. Well, that definitely was not the case. And had I known that, business is difficult, there's some contingencies, it's a long-term game, right? I would have had a lot less disappointments, at the beginning of my journey, right? You may be launching a Facebook ad, right? If you're launching a Facebook ad for the very first time, there's 2 different ways you can go about it. One of the ways you can say, you know what, I'm going to launch this Facebook ad, and I'm going to be able to set it and forget it. Within 2 weeks, I'm going to get all of the clients that I possibly need, and I'm never going to have to do any work again. Well, we all know that when you run Facebook ads for the very first time, there is a testing period. Well, I know that now, right? But I didn't know that at first. So then if I go into it with the proper expectation, I say, you know what, hey, I'm going to run Facebook ads for the first 2 weeks. I'm just going to test, and I'm going to be able to identify the ad and the creatives that work. I'm going to keep those on, and the ones that does not work, I'm going to turn those off, and I'm going to kind of just keep going from there. Then from an expectation standpoint, I have properly managed my expectation, and thereby my disappointment will be a lot less. If I go into it saying, man, this is going to be it, this is going to be the end all and be all, campaign. I'm going to create this one marketing campaign, and every single step in that marketing campaign is going to work, and everything is going to be jolly. Well, that's not really the case, right? It requires some tweaking, it requires some modification, and so on and so forth. Granted, if you work with the right type of individual, if you have the right frameworks, if you have the right blueprint, from a success standpoint, some of the things that you do in your business, you can have a higher level of success. But at the same time, right, it's hard to have what we call that overnight, success without any iterations, without any, course corrections, etc. So one of the things that I'm being a little bit more mindful about is I'm being more mindful about just managing my expectation, managing my expectations around, promotions, right? So if I'm inside of a promotion period, I say, you know what, I'm going to do this amount of work, and I'm going to be able to see what works and be able to make tweaks and be able to make corrections as I need to. I don't go in it saying, you know what, hey, everything's going to be a home run. I'm going to go into it and say, hey, I'm going to launch this the best way that I know how. And in most cases, some of the components are going to work, but sometimes I may have to go back and tweak, and I may have to go back to optimize. So, for you, as it relates to campaign, as it relates to other things that you're doing throughout this entrepreneurship journey, make sure that you go in with the proper expectation, because when you go in with the proper expectation, then you're going to have a lot less disappointment along the journey. All right, that's all I have for you in this video. Again, if you are watching and or listening to this content, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be hosting a workshop, and the workshop is going to essentially share with you what I've learned. Starting in 2016, I learned and I adapted, and I've been using a framework. It's a micro commitment framework to use to build marketing/sales funnel. I'm going to be hosting a workshop very soon around that content, showing you how you can use that content, how you can use that framework to build marketing funnels for your business. If you are watching this on, depending on where you're watching this from, you're going to be able to access the link to go to sign up via the link, via the comment section, or there's going to be a link somewhere around this page that allow you to go ahead and gain access and sign up. That's all I have for you for now. I'll talk to you soon.